the biggest name amongst them in the mix, stuck in neutral for most of the day. Cam Young was the proud owner of a 36-hole lead for the first time in his career, but failed to distance himself here on Saturday. 62 was the low mark of the day. That number at 9 under belonging to Alex Smalley, but that man right there is your leader through 54 holes. A whole bunch of experience coming with the lead of Brendon Todd, the pace car, headed to Sunday following a 5 under 66. As we take a look at that leaderboard, Todd one clear of a trio. Alex Smalley, Denny McCarthy, and Adam Shank. McCarthy has been scaring it. Smalley, again, low round of the day at 62. If you're looking for experience, if you're looking for wins, well, on that leaderboard, there are a few between them. Jonas Blixt, 3 to his name, but those came long ago. Todd, your leader, possesses 3 as well, most recently 2019 at Mayakoba. He will look to add another to the trophy case Sunday on CBS. And welcome into those of you as well who are streaming action on CBS and Paramount Plus. Joe Musso alongside Rick Gehman, CBS Sports data scientist and host of the Can't Miss First Cut podcast. Rick, we got to break this all down, and we got to start at the top here with Brendon Todd sitting at 16 under, an impressive round of golf. Maybe unexpected to be the name that emerged from this 5 wide, 10 wide, however many you want to include day here Saturday at the John Deere.
Absolutely. And the Todd father, played very well. He's been playing well all week long. He's been a hair reliant on that flat stick, but that's kind of what Brendon Todd does. And when you look at this golf course, TPC Deere Run, we knew, on Monday of this week that you did not require distance around this golf course. Distance is always nice to have, but this was not going to box out the shorter, more accurate hitters who rely on their short game. That's exactly how I would describe Brendon Todd. So from day one, he has not been boxed out of this event. And if you're Todd, you look at probably the 5 or 6 courses on the PGA Tour schedule where you don't need distance and you're licking your chops trying to go there and make sure that you put together a really good finish. You mentioned it earlier, Joe. We're nearly 4 years since his last victory, which actually he had 2 in back-to-back starts in 2019, but it feels even longer than that with everything that's happened in the game of golf and how much the modern game has turned into a distance debate and these really young and up-and-coming stars who have taken the place of so many of the savvy vets. But Brendon Todd trying to steal one for the vets this time around.
We'll see if he can get it done on Sunday. Todd with a fantastic round here of 5 under 65 play, 66 there for Todd on Saturday. Taking a look at some of the win share numbers, it looks like it's a 5-horse race, according to those that do it by the numbers. I want to explore a little bit of Denny McCarthy's form here because he's carrying some serious play into Sunday. Lost to Victor in a playoff at the Memorial, top 20 at the U.S. Open, then T7 at Travelers. What have you seen out of his game, and how does that project towards Sunday?
Yeah, this is a phenomenal game that we're seeing out of Denny McCarthy right now, not just this week, but you mentioned it, the couple of close calls that he's had before that, and even going back to the start of 2023. He has always been one of the best putters, if not the best putter on the PGA Tour. And what he's done recently in the last 6 months is he has really improved his ball striking. And he took himself from only having one way to get to the top of the leaderboard to having multiple ways to get to the top of the leaderboard. I mean, there was a time on Saturday, Joe, where you're looking at the scorecard, you're looking at the shots that Denny McCarthy's hitting, and he should be at 18 under par already. He actually missed a couple of very makeable short birdie putts throughout his third round, and I thought in the moment that that's kind of a bad thing. When you're Denny McCarthy, you have to make those putts, but when you start adding it up, those are all just opportunities, right? And if Denny McCarthy is going to give himself more opportunities or as many opportunities as everybody else in the field, he's going to make more than them. So really good sign to see that he's at least giving himself those putts, whether he makes them or not, because more often than not, Joe, he does make them.
Well, let's stick on that theme of missed opportunity, because Saturday surely felt like it for one Cam Young, the favorite in this field, the 36-hole leader. That stoic gaze leaning more towards frustration throughout most of the day in the season, for that matter. Just hasn't really been the guy that we saw last year knocking on the door at major championships. What did you take away from Saturday, including that nasty double bogey at the last?
Yeah, it was a grind. I was tired just watching this round. You know, the last couple of months for Cam Young have been well below his own expectations. He's not been able to put 4 rounds together, and we kind of saw that on Saturday in the 3rd round. You know, the golf course played nearly 2.5 shots under par. So when you shoot an even par round of 71 around TPC Deere Run, you're losing over 2 strokes to the field. And he was able to grind it out for the vast majority of the day until this happens on 18. He drives it into the fairway bunker. He hits probably the worst shot I've ever seen Cam Young hit, and he ends up putting a double bogey on the card. And I mean, there was carnage out there for a lot of this round, Joe. I mean, he makes a great par just a few holes earlier where he drives it into the trees and it kicks out into the fairway and goes just 200 yards. I mean, it looked like one of my shot tracers, not a shot tracer of Cam Young, who's one of the best drivers on planet Earth. So this was kind of a bizarro round of golf and does not necessarily elicit much confidence heading into Sunday's final round.
Yeah, we'll see if he can bounce back from that ugly double bogey that he'll have to sleep on here Saturday into Sunday. And while the numbers might suggest the 5 at the top have the best chances of winning, we're looking at 22 guys within 5 shots of the lead at a place that has yielded more birdies, Rick, than any other course since the year 2000. What does Sunday look like in your mind's eye as we do come in, dare I say, 22 wide?
Yeah, it's going to be awesome, right? And I think that you're going to have to go low. I don't think that you're obviously not going to be able to make pars and win this thing. You're going to have to go out and shoot something low. The guy who goes lowest is probably going to win this golf tournament. I look at somebody like Denny McCarthy, right? You know, Denny McCarthy, we've already talked about giving us a lot more paths to the top of the leaderboard than he has in recent months or in recent years of his career. And he just looks like he is on the verge, like he is ready. He's been knocking on the door at the Memorial. He's been knocking at the door seemingly week in and week out. And there was a reason that he was one of the co-favorites before this tournament started. So there's not a lot of, wins at the top of this leaderboard. There's not a lot of win experience. I do believe it's going to be Denny McCarthy getting the job done on Sunday.
Should be a thrilling and exciting Sunday on CBS. With that in mind, you give us a follow here in McCarthy. Is there a guy you maybe want to avoid come Sunday in the betting markets and elsewhere, a fade, someone that can lead us to a follow?
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about Cam Young. We talked about that. I'm kind of a lot worried about Brendon Todd. He made 80 feet of putts in his final 4 holes alone. That's over 20 feet per hole. You're not supposed to do that. And the golf gods generally do not allow you to do that multiple days in a row. I understand that he's a great putter, Joe, but even the greatest putters can get hot, and you're going to see some regression. So I worry about kind of his ability for the rest of his game from tee to green to stand up in the heat on Sunday. And then all things considered, there's almost no way that he's going to putt as well. So I think there's a bit of regression coming for the Todd father.
Well, we might be looking at some opportunity then, because our friends at Caesars do have Todd as the favorite at plus 330, plus 360 value on Denny McCarthy. Do you want to cement that as your pick heading into Sunday? And how do you make sense of those two numbers relative to one another?
Yeah, let's do it. It is fun because the last couple of weeks, you get to Saturday night or Sunday morning, and you're usually looking at a golfer being close to even money. We don't usually have 2 guys at the top of the board where you can get over 3-to-1 odds. So it does present an interesting opportunity because of how this leaderboard is developing. But yeah, that plus, over 3-to-1 on Denny McCarthy, where if he goes out and shoots, let's call it a 66, which he's certainly capable of doing, that's probably good enough to get the job done. So, yeah, I'm happy to cement Denny McCarthy as my pick to win the John Deere.
All right. Rick Gehman celebrating at Denny's. What could be an exciting Sunday on CBS. Rick, we appreciate you, as always, for stopping by. And don't forget, if you want more coverage all across the tour each and every week, round by round, Kyle Porter, Rick Gehman, the whole gang breaking it down on the First Cut podcast. It is the premier podcast in all of golf as our guys take you under the ropes and into the action. Join us on the First Cut podcast.